in jail all the time.
Yeah.
People used to call me a criminal. They used to call me a gang leader. But I was never in a gang, and I think they were just lazy. I thought I was just a leader.
Okay.
But because I was native and I was poor and I was on the streets, I fit the quota, you know? Because I was 14, I have to overcompensate for being a light-skinned, curly hair, well-speaking 14-year-old girl in jail when I was rocking cells with girls who used to rob cabbies with dirty needles, and then these girls used to want to beat me up, so then I had to be bigger than I was, and then I got put in the cells. So that's what happened, and that happened 28 times. One time I was looking out the window, and I seen this young man, and he was also a leader. And then I remember that moment. You know when you take a picture, you remember moments in your life? I took a picture in my mind and I remembered his face. Fast forward 10 years, I'm now a film producer. I was shooting a film about a school trying to engage students. So I got the students from the school to try out for my film. And this kid shows up, and I remember him from jail. So of course I really wanted him to be part of my film, and he did. And when he showed up on set, his shirt said success, and his hat said success. But he was still G, to the max, and I loved it because he was also rocking a backpack and a ton of books. And I knew that was really, really gangster to me now. So, fast forward 2 years. I look in the paper, and this kid was in jail again. And the police called him all sorts of things. But I know he was trying to make a life for himself, you know? Maybe we know people like that in our lives.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to create a visual for you, just in case you judge people along your way, liberal or not. Anyway, here it goes. He was born in a place not known to most. Some walked by and shrugged their shoulders, you see. The world we don't understand offers no immediate grasp. It's easy for us. We just shrug our shoulders and smile back if they smile first, but we don't smile first. We just walk past with our heads high as if we don't notice, hoping they don't notice. And wait until you feel like an asshole 10 steps later because, well, you know they noticed. Now, imagine a child, maybe one who noticed. This particular child was born to someone who forgot they once had dreams. She was no longer exploring or wonderment's last. There was nothing curious to her, so she'd stay last in her thoughts. The world's proven twice over, maybe a little more. People will lie while grazing the tips of your lips, so there's nothing she'd fall for. A syringe and a strap just don't talk back, and sure, sometimes she collapsed. Maybe there's one thing she fell for. He was nursed by the neighbors, held by their children. He was raised by the world, but it felt like hell that he lived in. How can they be forgiven if he hasn't been taught how to live yet? Now this little boy joins the system where he's expected to give in. But he feels like he's doing everything wrong and everyone wrong, and teachers remind him he's gonna have a hard time if he wants to move on. If he wants to move on to what? He's been shown his whole life that people don't give a fuck. It'd be no surprise when he's given up. But he still tried to do things for people, you know, he tried to go the mile. He thought it felt nice to give, and he liked making people smile. So he did this for a while until he knew it never mattered. He became inspired by the world that made him feel flattered. So he could disappear into the depths of his block, and he thought his older cousins were cool, and they all rocked the same colors, and so he wanted that too. So he threw his rag on at 11 and took the title of a runner and saw a place where he can grow in a way he felt like a stunner. He saw people begin to notice, so he became devoted. At night he was thugging, and during the day he hit the books. He wanted to make the money because he liked the way it looked. But he was tired of his brothers dying and the look in his sister's eyes. He heard one person say one time that with these choices come this life. But he still wasn't taught how to live yet. So he put the pieces together. White people have the houses and it's been like this forever. He felt jaded and mad and started breaking into places. You know, the people who we painted is the ones who tried to erase us, the ones who took our land and then tried to replace us. But every time he get caught, he ended up back in jail. And the flatter of the streets began to grow stale. The place he chose to win in is the very place he seemed to fail. And his brothers no longer rode him, and his spirits felt broken. He knew he was living a life where he had no more control in. The mirror he looked in never lied. He hasn't really survived, but here he is, and at least he's here alive. This boy is now a man with a rap sheet longer than his life. He's became bitter by the block, but the block's his paradigm. He was released with one more shot, and so he took himself to school. And he fell in love with a lady who knew the block well too, and they both had a lot to lose. He said he did it for his baby. He said he did it for his girl. He said he did it for the people who felt like they had no place in this world. He wanted success, and success was in his reach. He wanted to make peace with his old gangster beliefs. And on the front, he was making it. But it was more than he can cope with. He went to a party for a single beer, and after 3, he'd lose focus. He forgot where all his hope went, and all his anger began to surface. He forgot about his baby, his girl, the ones at home who noticed. He forgot about how he told himself that after one that he would stop. He remembered all the hurt and all the pain from that block. And the only person in front of him is the only person that he'd blame. Old habits die hard, even though the person wants to change. He took a knife out from his pocket and shanked his brother for a comment. He heard the voices yell, but he couldn't make them stop it. And in the paper, we'd all notice, and we'd judge him for his wrongs. And we talk about him in our houses, in our boardrooms, in our poems, but even a man's hands can only hold so much. So maybe next time we'll notice before we blame him for giving up. Thank you.